Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Root Beer here, looking at another Hypatia contest, this time the 2008 paper. So, if you just joined me for the first time, the Hypatia contest is a 4-question written contest, so you need to write your solutions up rather than a, say, multiple-choice contest like the Pascal, Cayley, and Fermat. So the Hypatia is aimed at grade 11, so expect knowledge that, up to and including the very end of grade 10. You're allowed 75 minutes to do these 4 questions, and calculators are allowed, although typically you don't need them. There's not really any questions where it's round this, round that. But, you know, if you need to square something really big, calculator can be handy. Okay? I always try and encourage you guys to practice these contests on your own before watching these videos. So to that end, you can click the very first link in the description. It will get you a copy of this contest printed out or read it on an iPad or something, and try this contest for yourself first. Okay? I'll be going 1 question per video, and the best way to practice is to practice on your own, not just watch someone else do these. So, when you're ready, you can join me, and I'll be doing question 1 in this video. Okay. For numbers A and B, the notation A, and this is an inverted triangle. I think from my 4th year differential geometry class, this is called nabla. But I really don't think it matters. We're just going to say triangle. A triangle B means 2A plus B squared plus AB. So they're defining a brand new function for us. Here's an example. 1 triangle 2 is 2 times 1 plus 2 squared plus 1 times 2. We can see where the 1 for A and the 2 for B get put into our formula, and we get 8 out. Okay, we have 4 parts to this question. A part, determine the value of 3 triangle 2. Okay, so this is just easing us in, do we actually understand how this notation works? So we're going to go to our notepad, and we're just going to plug in our values to the formula. So I'm going to copy it down. So it was 2A plus B squared plus AB. And we'll just double check that I did copy that right. 2A plus B squared plus AB. Okay. So they want us to give the value of 3 triangle 2. Well, I'll just show my work. There's not a whole lot to say in this question, but we can show the intermediate steps that we do understand how to plug things into the formula. 6, 2 squared is 4, and then 3 times 2 is another 6. So this is 12 plus 4, or 16. Okay, so we would make that nice and clear. I think nowadays they give you a little box that you could put the answer in. And then that does away with question number A, or question part A. B part, if x triangle negative 1 equals 8, determine the value of x. Okay, so now they're introducing some algebra with our new operation. So we know x triangle negative 1 is equal to 8. Well, I have a formula for our triangle operation, so I know that 8 has got to be equal to 2x plus negative 1 squared plus x times negative 1. Okay. So that's 2x plus 1 minus x. Well, that's really just x plus 1. So if we subtract 1 from 8, we'll get x is equal to 7. And if you wanted to, you could double check and calculate 7 triangle negative 1, and you'll get 8 back out. Okay, but that's only if we want to double check. And I only encourage you guys to double check if you're feeling a little unsure or if you have time left at the end. Okay, so that does B. And now C, if 4 triangle y is equal to 20, determine the 2 possible values for y. So why do we get 2 values for y as opposed to 1 value for x in the previous question? These are important things to think about, not necessarily when you're doing the contest, but just important things to see if you're making appropriate mathematical connections. And the fact that y in the second place gives us 2 possible values, comes from the fact that b gets squared in our calculation of a triangle b. And in general, when we square things, reversing the process, we should expect about 2 solutions. Sometimes just one, sometimes none, but expecting 2 solutions for a quadratic is common. Okay? So just some nice little mathematical connections that we can note. Well, we'll do it exactly the same way we did last time. We're going to set up the equation, set up what we know, and we have a formula. So 2 times 4 plus y squared plus 4y. Okay, so now I know 20 is 8 plus y squared plus 4y. I can bring the 20 over to the other side, and I'll get y squared plus 4y plus, and then it's 8 minus 20, so that's going to be negative 12 is equal to 0. So to solve for my values of y, I just need to solve this quadratic. So we've got 2 options. We can either use the quadratic formula, which takes a little longer, often, but it always gives the correct answer, or we can stop and think, can I factor this? Can I find 2 numbers that multiply to negative 12 and add to positive 4? Okay, how do we think about that? Yeah, we probably could. Learning how to factor quickly is something that you can certainly practice. And if all else fails, as I said, quadratic formula always works. But we can factor it like this. No need to explain how you factored it. As long as it's correct, no one's going to bat an eye. No one's going to think anything weird. So our answers are x is equal to 2, or sorry, y is equal to 2, or y is equal to negative 6, the roots of this quadratic. So that means that 4 triangle 2 is 20. And I could double check 8 plus 4 plus another 8, that's 16 plus 4. Hey, that is 20. And if we wanted to, we could check the negative 6 one. 8 plus 36 minus 24. Well, 36 minus 24 is 12, plus another 8 is 20. So yeah, that does work. And these are our answers. So nothing too stressful so far. It is still question 1. But they introduced a brand new concept, and I'd say we're dealing with it gradually. The questions are getting a little harder with it. So let's see what they've got for D part. If W minus 2, triangle W, is equal to 14, determine all possible values of W. Okay. So here it's a little more interesting. We are given just the W, but it's in both places in the triangle. So we're going to get a whole formula in terms of W that we have to work with. So W minus 2, triangle W. I know that this is equal to 14. And what's my formula? Well, it's 2 times the first one plus the second one squared plus the first times the second. And we can expand this out. 2W minus 4 plus W squared plus W times W is W squared, and then negative 2 times W minus 2W. And look at that. 2W and the minus 2W cancel out. And I'm left with 2W squared minus 4. Okay, we'll finish this off on the next page. So we've got 2W squared minus 4 is equal to 14. Well, we can bring the 4 over to the other side. That'll get me 2W squared is equal to 14 plus 4, which is 18. Divide by 2 on both sides. We'll get W squared is equal to 9. Okay? Now, do be aware, you can't just square root both sides and say, aha, W has got to be equal to square root 9, which is 3. Because there's 2 possible values of W that will work here. If you need to, you find yourself making this mistake a lot, I suggest you bring the 9 over and factor it. That might be a better way to start remembering it, but there's 2 possibilities, and that would be W is equal to 3 or minus 3. And these are the only values that will work, and you can see that from the factoring. Either way, it's fine. We get our final answer. W can be 3 or negative 3, and if you wanted to, of course, check. What is 1 triangle 3? What is negative 5 triangle 3? And we've got the time, so we're just going to quickly do it. 2 times 1 plus 3 squared plus 1 times 3. Well, that's 2 plus 9 plus 3. That's 14. 5 plus 9 is 14. And 2 times negative 5, it should be a negative 3, by the way, negative 3 squared plus negative 5 times negative 3. Well, that's going to be negative 10 plus 9 plus 15. And once again, the negative 10 and the 15 will give you 5. 5 plus 9, 14. So it does work. We don't get any marks for checking, but checking at the end could make the difference between thinking, oh, I've got the answer, or oh, I realize I have an algebra mistake. I need to go back and correct it. Okay? So we have written everything up. We've justified what we've done. And we finished off question number 1, and that wasn't so bad. So they always try and start the contest off easy. Question 1, in theory, is easier than question 2, easier than question 3, and finally question 4 should be the hardest. You don't have to join me for the next video for question number 2. If you want to just skip to something like question 4, or maybe question 3 was the one that gave you trouble when you practiced it, feel free to bounce around. But I will see you guys, for the most part, in the next video for question number 2. Have a wonderful day.